Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck.
Hello and welcome to Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Samantha Cummings, here with my co-host Matilda Swift, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over a dozen books between us and still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our mastery through missteps journey. Each week we cover a topic to help along the way, and this week's topic is income diversification. I hope such a long word. Before that, what are your wins and whinges of the week?
I feel like it's been such a long week this week. Like, I feel like I haven't seen you for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And partly that's because I have just done so much work. So I had my book into book 3 of my new series. So the last of the rapid release ones I'm prepping went into the editor on Wednesday, which meant in fact, it wasn't super late. I had quite a much more relaxed time, by which I mean I finished at midnight rather than 2 a.m. And I gave myself little breaks during the evening. I think I've got better at trying to give myself breaks. I'm trying to be really conscious about that, about saying rather than just plowing on until I die, take an hour off, have a dinner break, watch some TV. And I'm the same this weekend actually. I've done lots of breaks. So I got my book into the editor on Wednesday. I need to proofread book 2 and get everything formatted on that in the next few days. Ideally, I wanted it done this weekend, but actually, I've just been I feel like I'm very close to not burnout, but feeling awful, feeling like it will take me a long time to recover. And so I'm just trying to tread a little bit lightly and maybe be a couple of days behind schedule now, rather than need a couple of weeks off. So yeah, kind of wins and whinges all wrapped in one. I've just had a very long and full feeling week. So lots of editing, but also I have had conspicuous breaks this weekend, but I've also fit in lots of errands. So I got my hair done, got my nails done. I took a 6-hour craft workshop this weekend, which was really good, but very intense. Did a hospital visit, done some findings and cleaning around my house, and also have been doing a lot of proofreading / editing, but slightly more editing than I would have liked on this final copy. So yeah, it's been a lot, but I feel less like I'm dying than I did this time last week, even though I'm comparatively at the exact same stage. So that has been positive. How about you?
I also feel so much better this week and today than I did this time last week, because last week I felt like I actually was on the cusp of death, to be dramatic. Yeah. This week I feel really optimistic. I've got so much energy today, and I did have a little bit of a stumble early on in the week where I just felt so blah, and I went into the Discord to talk about it. I just felt really rubbish about everything, and I took an impromptu day off. And I never take Tuesdays off, but I thought to myself, there's just no way I could do any work in the mind state that I was in. So I took Tuesday off, and then on Wednesday I thought to myself, just get back on the horse. You took a day off, doesn't have to be a big deal. And then since then I have had such a good week. I'm so on schedule and loving the stage that I'm at right now, which is writing the end of this book that's going to go to the editors later this month. And I am just loving it. It just feels I've got to that point again. I love my I'm just following the same trend constantly of I hate work, I love work, I hate work, I love work. And back to the part where
I think so much of it is related to tiredness, and I think it's so useful that we're both in the same stage together, because I have this week felt so up and down. Last week I was saying, oh, it's such a pain that I don't why don't I have a second full-time job? The amount of work I'm doing, it feels like I'm wasting time, but I'm just in the phase of making things happen, or creating content for it to work later. I have dealt with that up and down over and over again in cycles this week, and it's very much later. I'm just too tired. So I do really want to make sure I am scheduling more rest so that I can not waste time on being negative. Because I am just losing time to feeling today I had quite a rubbish day actually, because I was having to proofread this book, but it needed some changes at the beginning that I knew from having reread it while I was at the editor. I was I need to tweak the beginning a couple of ways. And it felt so unpleasant, like facing something that wasn't quite working. I started to catastrophize it. I was like, it isn't working. The whole series will tank. I will just absolutely fail. Everything's been a mistake. And it was just from like, I'm still really tired this weekend. I'm not as dead as I was last weekend, but if I had been in a better mood, I forgot I went roller skating as well this weekend. I've been so busy. If I had just been in a better
Shocking.
mood, I wouldn't have kind of spent so long in the negativity, and it would have, because the second half of the day it was fine. I got through things. Also when I'm in the negative part, I know I'm going to get through it, so it feels extra annoying. They're like, this is just a feeling I'm in, and it's partly coming from being tired. So it is a good reminder for both of us, and being forced to see it in someone else is useful, of just like, it's like you're doing yourself a double disservice by letting yourself get really tired, because then you have to deal with both the tiredness and then the like negative mood consequences of it.
Yes, 100%. And I took the time this weekend to get outside a little bit more. So Saturday morning was really nice weather, and I woke up earlier than I wanted. My dog did wake me up, as she likes to do on a Saturday morning. And I thought, I'm just going to get up. I mean, it wasn't actually very early. It was about 8:15 or something. But on a Saturday, for me, that's just disgustingly early. And we got up and we went out on a massive walk, which I've not done at all this year because it's just been too cold and grey and rainy. So we haven't done our usual Saturday morning trek around town. And this weekend we did. And I think I just started off the weekend on a really good foot, excuse the pun, because I felt so energized and happy that I got out.
We can't excuse that. It's terrible.
Yeah. I was walking through the park. I got there before the weekend runners got there, which is the bane of my life of the weekend. So I got into the park before they did and felt like I'd won. Just from the get-go, I was winning. And I think that has just been like, I've just felt really energized from that. And I've done loads of chores around the house as well. So it's like, who am I? Who is this girl?
Also, what
I've
can't
cleaned.
you do? Just like such an achievement this week.
Yeah. Yes. So feeling great. Loving it. No whinges.
Fantastic. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to roll right past that then, just in case you remember any. So this week they were talking about quite a tricky topic. So we're talking about the topic of income diversification. We've discussed it before, and we sort of talk about it in lots of different, from lots of different angles. So firstly, can you explain what it is and why we're touching on it again?
Oh yeah, thanks for throwing that.
You could see it before. Yeah, that's your choice.
I did not see that was a question. Yes, so income diversification is the fun challenge of trying to make money from other avenues rather than just relying on your books, because we all know that it's a fickle business and there are ups and downs within it. So it's better to have some money coming in from other places, just so that you know that hopefully all your bases are covered as well as they can be. We are touching on it again because we always said we were going to talk about it again, and we just brushed it aside because who has the time to think about making money in other ways when we've both got full-time jobs and are writing full-time as well. But I think it's important that we do raise it again and again, because we have talked about this before we started recording, about how we can come at this from a different angle to make it not just us making promises again, but just trying to figure out a nicer way to look at it that's not like, I don't really know like the right words to describe it. Just we just don't want to be making promises that we can't keep by saying this is what I'm going to do.
And I think in the past, when we maybe talked about this topic, it felt quite abstract. And I think one of the reasons why I wanted to revisit it now is we've got much more of a sense of like where we're heading in a professional sense, and like the books that we're publishing are with a specific like money making goal, and that's not necessarily right now at all going to make a full-time income, but kind of now we're moving towards that. We need to kind of revisit the idea of what does that mean in terms of other income, and how do we balance those, rather than just, I definitely don't want to be thinking of, I can't leave my job or even think about it until that magical day when I replace my income with book money, because I think that's really far away from me. And also, we are both in a position where we have very few demands on us, as in, or like other, we don't have to think about other people in the same way that others might have to. So we don't have kids, we don't have particularly expensive lifestyles, and so I think it is useful for us to kind of talk through this as an exercise in like how we make this decision and what it depends on. So when I was maybe 2 weeks ago now, or just over a week ago, when I met with someone from our Discord, I think I mentioned last time, one of the things we were talking about was like money and quitting your job. And I was saying I sort of feel like it's going to reach a stage for me where it is stupider to stay in a job than to leave my job, even if I'm not at the stage where I make enough money from my job to pay for all my bills. Just because I have a large sense of myself is from being someone who can like leap and a net will appear, and I enjoy taking risks. And in the past, I've done that a lot through traveling and like doing fun, exciting things. And I have set my life up in a way to enable that. Like I have not got a family on purpose so that I can, take wild risks in my life and enjoy it. And I think you only get one life. You should be doing the most you can. I don't want to be stable and secure. I want to be like pushing boundaries and doing the most that I can. So I feel like since I moved back to the UK, it's definitely not an environment that encourages that. And I can feel myself getting dragged into the idea of like security and prioritizing that. And I want to make sure that I am not um I'm not preventing myself from doing things by getting sucked into that.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I want to do is think about like how can I give myself enough security that if I quit my job, it would feel not stupid, but also how do I avoid waiting too long? Because I don't have to replace my income, right? I've got other sources of income that we'll talk about now, and I want to do more income diversification so that I feel confident with it. But I don't want to feel like I'm like treading water. So that's partly why I wanted to think about it. Do you feel like you're in a similar position, or have you got other factors that you're thinking about?
I think it's funny that you'd mentioned about taking risks and feeling like you don't want to live just like the same life that everybody else lives, because that's definitely how I feel inside. But even just recently, I realized that I'm still, even though like I live like away from my family, like I say away, I just mean not in the same house. They're 2 minutes away, but I live away from my family, so I'm living my own life, and yet I still feel the pressure of expectation from them. And I'll just like have like tell this little anecdote about how like this is my mental state. Is that recently I have a dream house which is down the road. It's the gatehouse of a cemetery.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. My absolute dream of a house. And I got the wheels of the universe turning and got this house put on the market. So it's I have started this thing that I think eventually will lead to me living in this house. And the house actually came back onto the market because somebody bought it at auction and then tried to resell it, but it was like too much money and no one's bought it. So they put it back on auction for 100 grand less. And and I was watching the auction. Nobody bid on it. Not a soul.
So, why did you bid on it?
Because I'm not in a position that you have to be a cash buyer or like get a bridge loan, which is like so it's like I'm not in a position to buy a house at auction.
You don't have a few hundred grand sat on your pocket.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to. They were looking for developers, but nobody bid. And so in my mind, that means they'll probably put it back on the market again for sale. Hopefully, fingers crossed, and less than they put it on for auction. Potentially, or even at the price that they put it on auction, I could buy that house. That is now within my price range. And I said this is such a long story, so and I said this to my dad, because like my dad knows how much I love this house. And my dad said, oh, like that house is a money pit. It needs so much work doing on it. Like it's just ridiculous. Like you should never buy that house. And I was just so like, it just really hit me really hard, because it feels like that house and everything about it, and like the project and the strange location, is everything that I feel like I've been building towards. Yeah. And like, and me and my dad both love watching people doing up houses on YouTube. Like this is one of the things we just love, people like DIYing houses. And so I feel like he should really know that about me, that I am the sort of person who would love to do that, even though like I can't imagine how I would ever have the money or the time to do it. it seems like he should have encouraged the dream, like, oh, imagine, it would be so fun, we could do that, we could do the house up, it would be a dream house. But he basically like said no to my idea, like to my dream. And it just kind of like knocked me back quite far, because I realized that I'm still living the life. Like, I'm kind of stuck between two worlds, because I want to be the person who takes risks, because I don't want to live the life that everyone else is living, but I'm accidentally in the life that everyone else is living. So that's my mindset. So
I think I would have found it really hard if I hadn't lived overseas to kind of stay out of that. Because I think growing up within, not even just like the UK in general, but like a certain section of like UK society. So like, I think we both come from sort of safe middle class, like suburban families. People who, and I think because our parents are boomers, they're both maybe from generations above them didn't have lots of money, and they're the first generation to have like a safe, stable amount of money they can feel like, oh, I've worked really hard my whole life, and now I have the things that you're meant to have, like the markers of success, and I'm now comfortable, and I don't have to worry. I want that for my children. Whereas I don't want that for myself.
No.
I don't want like I don't want the house I grew up in. The house I grew up in was like a nice big family house, but I don't want a nice big family house. I want like, I've lived in a caravan. I've lived, in like very random huts in the forest, in like random places. And I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed every moment of that. And I think my family in general are, the like marriage and babies kind, but they're also, lots of them enjoy traveling and maybe slight adventures. But definitely towards the safety side of things. But I think having lived abroad and being able to be out of that for like very formative years. So like, a lot of my 20s and all of my 30s, I was out of the UK. I really got to avoid that time in life where people might keep asking you like, oh, are you buying a house? No. I only own this house by mistake, like by accident because of pandemic. And I just, situations happened that then it was made more sense to me to own a house. And I only own like probably the bit I'm sat in right now. Whereas like sensible people would own half their houses by now at my age. But it's fine. I don't care. And I don't want to care. And I think I worry that the longer I don't quit my job, the scarier it feels to quit my job.
Yeah. I think that's the thing that's really in the back of my mind, is that I'm struggling with these two versions of myself, where I know in the future, I know the version of me in the future that I'm working towards is the person who is self-sufficient, self-employed, and living
Happy.
happy, like living in the creepy cemetery house with the ghosts and the horses in the field behind, who obviously is going to be my best friends, and the crows that are going to be my best friends. Like, I know that version of me is in the future, but I don't know, like, it feels almost impossible to walk through that door to become that person with like the way that I am right now. And that's really why I'm happy to be talking about this, because I feel like this conversation is definitely the mindset conversation, where we can talk about like the realities of, if we quit our jobs now, how would we, like, where are we going to replace our money? Like, how are we going to replace the money? What, like, actual rug pull, you've been fired, now what?
Yeah.
And that's,
which I think we talk about a lot is on, on SPS panels at the SPS conference. I have seen several people saying the thing that made me become successful was being fired, because I had no other option, and I just threw myself into it absolutely 100%. And I had a very limited time and limited budget, and I just made it work. And I think there's so much to like the fact that I hold myself back. Like I don't think it's necessarily even that I hold myself back in terms of like, oh, I'm not working hard enough. No, I'm working really, really hard. But I'm not, I could be, if I had to make money from my books, I would be much more dedicated to making ads work. And it's the thing that's the first thing drops off my list, because if I don't have a lot of time, I will be like, oh, I'll look at my ads again next week. I'll have to let this set is due to end, at the end of this trial, and I'll have to come back next week. Whereas if I knew I had to make my income from it, I would take the savings that I have in my bank that are for this particular purpose and be spending them on. And it's not a huge amount of time either. It's more that it's the mindset mindset restriction. Anyway, it's mindset that's kind of like making me think, oh, I have to be in kind of like peak mental state to focus on ads. It's not true. But anyway, it's the first thing my brain lets go of, because I don't need it in the same way that I would need it if I lost my job. So yes, I think I want to think today about if I lost my job, what would I do? And my first instinct is get another job, and I don't want that to be my first instinct, um, because I think I'm at the edge at the moment of having enough things in play that I don't need that. And I have enough savings objectively right now. If I had to, I could not work for a year and just live off my savings.
Yeah.
So why am I not doing that? Just because it feels really scary. And then the money
Yeah.
would be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then I might have no more money. So I do want to have, I don't want to just be draining my income, draining my savings, and then at the end of that, not have a plan. So I have been putting other income diversification strategies in place. And I think we want to just talk through if you couldn't get another job, so you are legally barred, just you in the whole country,
Oh.
in the whole
Oh
world,
no.
it has been made illegal for you to have a job. How else would you be making money? So for me at the moment, one way that I am making money, which I can announce today because we just signed contracts and we've had first payments. Yes, everything is in play and we'll be starting on Monday. I am co-writing with someone who has a very successful Crazy Mystery series, and that came to me absolutely out of my control. Like it just came to me from being loud, I guess, in
Mm-hmm.
the crazy mystery space, from like being present and contributing to conversations and talking to other crazy mystery authors. That meant that a couple of people, when they knew that somebody was looking for a co-writer, um, knew that I was looking for more money and more work and mentioned my name. And that has come to this situation where now we're going to start work together. And we've already had a few meetings. We've exchanged some work, and I'll be starting writing on it next week. And that is, we're only starting with one book, but the ideal situation would be to get to a few books a year, and that would cover uh, about half of my income needs. So that is amazing, and
Yes.
it
I'm
wouldn't
so
take up.
I'm so glad that you get to talk
Yeah,
about it now.
yeah. It feels amazing. Obviously, it's not a sure thing at all. Like, it might be that the whole process falls apart. It might be that
Mm-hmm.
the book publisher says it's a flop. It doesn't really matter. It's that, like, this is the thing that I am trying in order to replace my income. And it is a thing that I want to do. And I will learn from, kind of regardless of how well it goes, I will learn a lot from it. So I'm happy to do it. And it's not so time consuming that it feels like a job, and it will feel fantastic in every way, and I'll get money for it. So
Mm-hmm.
that feels phenomenal. And it also feels like a very big, like almost a year ago, I could not have imagined this, like
Yeah.
unthinkably big step towards becoming a full-time author. So yeah, it would cover about half of my um like bare minimum costs, so like the amount of money that I need to have coming in. So that is fantastic. And then other place I get some money, I have got my savings. I also have another pot of money that it comes in regularly, that is a small stipend that I get for something else. And between those things, I could much more comfortably then say, okay, I will slowly drain my savings, or I could even talk to my day job and do some freelancing for them, and just say I will do, maybe the equivalent of a day or two a week, or even just as it comes up, just top up my savings. And that would feel much, much more doable than thinking about how to get a day job. Um, I still think I would like more options. So other things I have thought about in the past, I have got a house that is it's for one person, but you could live in it as a couple. But it has got an extra room that I currently use as an office. But if I needed it, I could use it as my bedroom, and then let my bedroom out upstairs as like a spare room. I would not like that. Like, I really wouldn't enjoy it. I don't like living with other people, but it's an option. And it's something that it wouldn't kill me. So I want to kind of keep a few things on deck that wouldn't kill me, but I would, find money from. And then I have a background in tuition, so I could find some tuition work. There's various websites in the UK that do that. It's not hugely well paid, but also I don't find it very hard. So it'd actually be kind of a nice break if I did just some evenings of tutoring, and, again, had like a little bit of regular money coming in. I think that would feel better to me than just seeing my savings budget go down and down and down. That would feel quite anxiety inducing. Um, Yeah, so that's a couple of ideas. Let's have a chat through your options, and then maybe see what else we can come up with.
Yeah. I have always been really into the internet. This isn't me saying I'm going on OnlyFans, but I'm not
But you could.
saying that. But
Yeah.
like I would. But if I'm not going to work on OnlyFans, I really love the internet, and I really love like doing website stuff. And in my day job, I do like work on websites and things, and not so much the same kind of job that I used to do for them. I definitely am more in the project planning side of things now, although I'm still kind of tinkering with particular CMS systems and stuff. But I would really love to help other authors with their websites, because I know not everybody is as proficient with like WordPress and Wix and Squarespace and everything. And strangely, like I find technology like easy enough that I could help people who really struggle and make money from it. And whether that would be doing it for writers, but also just like local businesses around where I live, because I kind of do that every now and again anyway. And it doesn't take a lot of time for me. Like, it's just picking up bits and pieces that people need, updating like fonts or images and everything that would take somebody hours would take me literally minutes. So I really do think that is something that I would fall back on, because it just seems like a simple solution to make some easy money. Another thing that I have on my list is my bookshop, which I have also another business. It's like a hobby business, so I don't make any money from it right now. Every now and again, I'll sell some secondhand books online. I've got a website and everything, which obviously costs me money and doesn't pay for itself. But if I had to, I would get out onto like markets and stuff and sell books at local markets, because I would make money that way. I just literally don't have the time right now to do that. But if I had to, I would be out there. I love, strangely, even though like I'm such an introverted person, I love customer facing jobs. And even though it drains me, like I just absolutely love it. I love talking to people about books. So I would happily do that. And then something that I've been thinking about recently, which I might do anyway just for fun, is we all know that I love watching YouTube videos with writing sprints. I love them. There is nothing stopping me.
Oh, you know what? Can I say I watched the Dark Academia Train one that we both love? It started having adverts on it.
Yes,
I'm
YouTube
so
does it. Yeah, YouTube will add them in on their own, and then it's up to the person to go back and take them out. So yeah, it's very annoying. They've just started slamming them into quite a few of the ones that I watch, which is very frustrating. But there's nothing stopping me from making those, because I'm also like, I really like video editing, and I used to do a lot of YouTube stuff in my youth, and I used to make videos and edit stuff, and it's not like too hard for me. It's a bit time consuming, but
and like the ones that pop on there, they're often so bad. Like they're bad loops of AI things where they'll be like leaves falling, and then a giant leaf the size of a house falls. And you're like, what? Where am I?
Yeah, you can.
And the loops are really obvious.
Yeah. And I love making music, and I have got plenty of opportunity to make music like myself if I wanted to. And that would be such a nice little creative thing to do, which might bring in money if I put some time and effort into it. So I feel like creatively, I am well equipped to make money should I need to. I really don't feel like it'd be that much of a problem. But obviously the thing is, like, I don't have to do any of those things. So what am I going to do about that? Because I do love my day job, but it's also a full-time day job. And they all know what I do outside of work. Like, I talk about it all the time. And they know about the podcast, so they know that I'm like going home and working a second job. I don't think they'd be surprised if I dropped down to part-time. But I would miss them if I didn't go every day. Like, I love them. They're great.
The reason why I definitely feel like I want to stop doing my day job is not really because I need to do the job, because if I hated the job, I would just find another job. I think the job, and I've thought around this a lot of times, and I go up and down with how much I enjoy the job. But it is just that I feel so much more myself on the weekends when I'm writing. And when I can control my own time. And I work hard at the weekends, and I do more, but I feel better. I really just, it's the being showing up at the office at certain hours a day. It's having to do the same things over and over and over again. And it's like the performativity of it. It feels like and it's fine. Like I get well compensated for it. So I wouldn't do it if I felt like it wasn't worth the money, but I just feel like I'm done. And if I could make money from writing, why would I be doing it in another way?
Yeah.
And I think I could make money from writing. I just need to have more of a push, um, and be able to say, "Oh, I'm feeling really tired today. I'm gonna like read until noon, and then work from like noon until midnight. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to do today." Whereas you just can't do that in a day job. You have to be there, even if you're feeling tired. Maybe you're gonna do nothing but like chat on Slack about something, or like
Or do what
do
I
nothing
do.
but sit at your desk.
Play with the dogs. because we have dogs in the office and I am just the dog person. Just
Mhm.
constantly on the floor with them.
Yeah, well, I just be in
Maybe I could be
meetings
a
and
dog
like,
walker.
yeah. I do think, and I was talking about this the other week when I met with the person on my Discord. I do think that I would have some work, because I am by nature just very antisocial, and if I'm really busy, like last week before I hit the weekend, before I handed my editing in, I probably spent a week without seeing a single person, like leaving my house even, because I just don't need to. I work from home, and if I'm writing, I'll happily just stay at home. And I just forget. And like I have at the moment, because the lorry hit my house last year, I have a gigantic bar across the front of my house, like across my front door. So I have to bend down quite extremely to get out my front door. And I leave my house so infrequently sometimes that I forget it's there. I was like, oh gosh, I've got to bend down to get out. That's really hard.
I love that you like just don't see anyone because you're so
Yeah.
social compared to me. I just feel like I'm always out. I never get to stay in the house, and all I want to do is stay in the house, and I can't. I have to show up to work every day. And it's a struggle, and they know it's a struggle. I'm not an outside
Yeah.
person.
I think that's maybe why I can be more sociable, actually, is that like working from
Yeah.
home definitely feels like it. I don't ever have any of those interactions that you really just are glancing drains.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Anytime I'm talking to somebody, it's an intentional meeting. Well, and I do find that draining, but like we're often
Yeah.
talking about a specific thing for a bit, and then you're done, and you can take a break and then come back to work, rather
Yeah.
than like, oh gosh, there's that person who's annoying again, or I cannot believe they are having the same conversation again and again. And just I used to just wear headphones in work all the time,
Mm-hmm.
so it's sort of
Yeah.
pointless being there. And then I have my own office. I was like, finally, a door. Get out.
Your own office. I basically have my own office in that I sit in the back corner so no one looks over my shoulder,
Mhm.
which means I get away with murder.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think if I did write full time and had like various income streams that were remote,
Mm-hmm.
I would try and find something face to face for a couple of days a week, even if it was just like working in a cafe. I live in a
I was
small,
going to
like
say
very
that. Yeah.
popular town which has just no end of cafes. And that might be
Mm-hmm.
easier than done, because that's not my background. My background is in retail, like when I had other jobs. And definitely here there are people finding it hard to find jobs, but it's also a very like arty and creative town, so I think anything where you've got some sort of connection in that. Like I went to a workshop this weekend that was a glass fusion workshop, and it was so good. But like
So
I've run art
jealous.
workshops in the past. I've done, felting workshops. I've got loads of wool. I could run various craft workshops, and I've done like lino cutting and things. So and there's lots of craft centers here where you can run workshops out of them. So I think I would like to um kind of, once I have made the jump and I've got rid of my day job, is like add an extra side hustle in. So an extra side hustle that maybe doesn't bring a huge amount of money to start with, but is
Mm-hmm.
just a way to kind of be building up. So once I got rid of like the writing side hustle, because it's my main hustle, bring in a new side hustle of like
Yeah.
craft workshops, or even if it's like my side hustle is working in a market store on the weekends. Like I don't know what it would be,
Yeah.
but I think
Yeah. Yeah. I do think that that's important to think about, is that you don't have to be doing a 9 to 5, but if you wanted a job just for the comfort of it, you could work in a shop, a local charity shop. I would
mm,
happily go and work just like clearing tables in a coffee shop for a few hours a day. There's a lot of small businesses where I live. It's like quite
mm,
nice how the local business side of things is quite bustling. There's a local women's group who like all meet up for working remote working people meet up and
mm,
work together and like have little lunches together and stuff. So there's definitely the vibes are great around here to do that.
mm.
Yeah, I feel like it's possible. My whole kind of like hesitation is that every month I get a set amount of money, and this is like a writing
Yeah.
thing in general anyway. It's like every month I get a set amount of money, and when you aren't doing that and someone else isn't paying you, your monthly income could be different every month. But
Mhm.
that's just like this game that we're playing, that's going to happen no matter what. So I need to get over that kind of hurdle of thinking,
But like your
I don't
monthly
like the
mortgage can't be
idea.
different, so you have to have a way to
Yes.
pay like the essential bills.
Yeah.
Which I think is hard.
Yes, so it would be a case of, if I was going to do websites for people, I'd have to have a set list of clients to know that I could meet particular costs, like living costs. And then at what point does the side hustle then become the full-time job?
Yeah.
Hopefully it wouldn't, because hopefully, like, with the time that you would be putting it into writing and marketing and getting more books out, the balance would shift. Maybe to start with, it would be just like replacing a job, but then you have the option yourself to move the sliding scale thing to spend more time doing this than that. So, yeah, it doesn't feel as scary.
Found it useful listening to Sacha Black do her finance episodes over the last few years. So I think she did them for 5 years. I think she's stopping now. But she did it from her first year as a full-time author, and just talked about kind of moving that sliding scale. So she had a lot of copywriting clients, and that would take up a huge amount of time. But over time, she could then like drop them bit by bit. I think that's definitely something that I maybe should look more into, because I think I take it for granted that people can that I can do copywriting, and like I've done a lot of different marketing jobs and publishing jobs and things like that, and some people are just really bad at writing, just like really bad. And yeah, there's enough maybe small businesses around here that could benefit from something like that. It's just about like the time it takes to kind of put things together to like start the promotion for that. It's another like thing to be contacting people about, to be marketing yourself for. And do you want to do it locally, or do you want to try and do it online? And then there's kind of various ups and downs to both. But yeah, I don't know, that's just a lot of work, but I think it's useful to at least have knowledge of what's available in that area before you need to, and to start looking into that before it's necessary.
Yeah, I'm just writing myself a note to be like, I need to work out, if I was going to take on clients for websites and things, what would I charge? Like, if I think if I come up with an idea of costs of like how much would I charge people, so how many people would I need to help in order to make like even like the bare minimum of my living costs. That's something that I've been putting off because I hate looking at numbers, but I really think that that needs to be something that I do before the end of this quarter. I think that that's a good thing to bring to our quarterly catch up.
And I do think if there are small businesses that you could approach to manage their websites and kind of give them some personal support, because like I in the UK work for a small kind of UK arm of a bigger company, and the big company is based in Hong Kong, so we have one tech person who's based in the UK actually, who works for a Hong Kong company but does some work for us as well. And if something goes down with our website, it's a crisis, and we need him to be in the UK, because if he works Hong Kong hours, he's finished like midday. So we need him to be here. And it's just so useful to be able to have someone where we can literally just message and be like, can you just hop on and fix this? And it's always a 2-minute fix for him. It's always nothing. He's like, oh, we just updated this and forgot to change this thing. I was like, well, A, that's very frustrating. I wish I hadn't done that. And B, thank you for doing it so quickly and fixing it straight away.
Yeah.
But if we didn't have that, if we had to like keep trying to figure it out ourselves, it would just waste enormous amounts of staff time that we just don't have. We just have to leave the problem because no one would have the time to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Like, I think that's a good thing to think is, what do you have to offer other people? And I have years of experience doing these things. That is my offering. It's like
and you're local and available. Like people can ask you to come in and like look at things on their computer and stuff like that, and you can
rewrite copy and all that kind of stuff. It's funny because I always kind of put myself down and think like, well, who would hire me? Who would ask me to do that? Yeah. But that is actually a skill. I know it is a skill, and not everyone can do it. And a lot of people glass over when you say, oh, what are you on, Squarespace? Are you using WordPress? And they don't even know the answers to those questions. So yeah, I think it is. I mean, I have dealt with enough people to know that what I can do, it shouldn't be grumbled at because people ask the dumbest questions. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I would also like the kind of, aside from just figuring out like what the cost of it is, like the next first step is like getting a couple of clients, even if you don't do a huge amount for them, like getting a couple of people you can get testimonials from. And then ask for them to provide referrals and stuff like that so you can start to grow. Because I would say what you don't want to do is like when you need it to have to be growing a massive business and then say, okay, I need to cover all my income costs. So I need to go and recruit 30 clients. It's like that is a lot of work. Whereas if you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I've got 5 clients, I need to grow to 10. Okay, that's doable.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like 0 to 30 is massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's partly why we want to kind of cover this today, is to start putting some little things in place.
Yeah.
Like this co-writing thing I'm doing, where it's like we've got one book going and it might go nowhere, but then after that I've kind of got the experience of that. I could look for other co-writing experiences and would at least know or have a better sense of what it's like. Or it goes well and we build it up to more books a year and that becomes part of my income.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of a low stakes way to test out a new source of income. But I think I do need to look at more. I do need to look at like maybe local copywriting opportunities and how I would start to develop that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and start to think about that.
Yeah. I like that we've just like, it's just nice to get a ball rolling. It's nice to get the hamster on the wheel and lure it into some sort of trot. Because I feel like a lot of our conversations, whilst they feel like we haven't really done anything other than just speculate, it does lead me to I love just like setting things off in my head and leaving it, because I know that eventually something will come from that. That's how my writing works, and that is how my life works in general. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying before, like, I think if you start things when you need it, it's too late. Like then you haven't got anything going. You haven't even had a chance to think about it. Like I made my first list, which I couldn't find today. I made a list of like alternative income sources. And things on there were things like Airbnb, tutoring, going freelancing at my job. I think there were some other things on there that obviously have not made the grade in my mind. And like Airbnb, I've just like, or you know, renting your house some other way. It's just like absolutely, it's not. It's sinking to the bottom. It's doable, but I would hate it. But you know, my parents have an extra flat attached to the house and they Airbnb that. So like I know that if I needed to do it, I could get the information that I need for that and figure it out. So I've kind of got that ball rolling in my mind of like, if I really had to, because also if I had to, I could figure out like, could I move out of here and move into somewhere much smaller and then just rent this out? Like there are options available that I am kind of keeping in the back of my mind. Though I wouldn't want to. Like my mortgage rate is very cheap, so it's feasible for me to stay here. But it's just useful to kind of have those things in mind and start to see like what lingers, what keeps going in my mind, and things like tuition. Like I do a small amount of tuition as in my day job. Still, I have few students who have been with me for years, and that doesn't feel like work. It feels like, oh, how nice we get to talk about poetry, or you know, A-level biology, or we're doing like prep for your university admissions. Like delightful. It's just talking to teenagers about things they feel a bit nervous about and want someone to talk about. I could do that for, you know, every evening and enjoy it.
Yeah,
So
that's
why
really
not I
nice.
start getting some like private clients? Not necessarily even now, just like make sure I'm aware of what the like field is, what the availability is. And there are tuition companies in you know where I live now. So I've done that already. I've made a list of those and I looked into them and I've met with someone for a whole different reason, but I do know someone. So it's an option I want to kind of keep rolling. And I just want to know like, oh, that could bring in enough for my utilities. And another thing could bring in enough for my mortgage. And I just want to have a few things that bring in like guaranteed enough for those certain bills. And then I'm using my savings just to cover book publication costs. And that's fine. And that's going to kind of hopefully cover itself after a while.
Yeah, it feels a lot more achievable just having this conversation. I feel like, oh, like this is actually easy. The idea, like the starting idea of it feels easy. It feels like I'm going to say manifesting, but I mean that in the not in the silly way. I don't mean the magic way. I mean manifesting just in terms of we're speaking our intentions out loud, and that does always lead you down the path that you need to go. That is a bit woo-woo, but
I think there is no silly way. I think manifesting is what you want it to be and it's what works for you.
Yes.
I don't think the universe is part of it. I think it's all me, but I just need to make me work on it. I think what's also useful for me is that like obviously we do live in an environment that's generally quite like safety and security focused, but where I live now is quite a creative community. And so it doesn't feel as crazy. A lot of people I know here, you know, make money as artists of various sorts. So it feels more like it's an option. There are people juggling things. Like I go to a writing group in a pub on Wednesdays, and it's just upstairs in the pub. And I was chatting to the bartender there, who is actually an artist who just does some shifts to make money between her art jobs. And we were just chatting about that. And again, you could do that. Just a nice way to kind of bring some extra money in.
I feel like I need to. There's in the like one of the towns over the road in Macclesfield, there's a women's business collective, and they have a meeting every like month or so where they just kind of go and socialize and talk about business and like running their own businesses. And I've forever put off going to it. One of my friends goes and she kind of sometimes regularly hosts it, and I just think like I've put it off because I've felt like I wasn't the right person for it. Even though I've been invited to it, I always think like, but I'm not running, like I'm not a woman who's running a business, but I am.
You are.
And I feel like I need to have more conversations with people who are doing not just running their businesses, but running different types of businesses, because there must be a common truth to it. There must be information that's really helpful. That's just
Just being surrounded by that sort of person who doesn't make money from a salary is, I think, quite different.
Yeah. So I think maybe I'll have to go to the next one.
One more thing, but I've maybe forgotten what it was. About women in business. Yeah, I mean, also you can get referrals from them, right? Like I think those networks often they provide work for each other. So if someone there needs a lawyer and someone is a lawyer, oh, great, I will connect you guys together. So I think that's just useful in terms of various side hustly things, or to figure out what their problems are and how you fix them.
Yeah.
I think there are also loads of options that we haven't considered. I think lots of people in the self-publishing world, they provide other services to other authors. So, things like helping with social media or helping with formatting or editing, things like that. I think for me, there's nothing that particularly calls me in that direction. But I do kind of want to stay aware and think about that. But it's not something that I've got top of my mind at the moment. So, but also I'm kind of excited to see what people in the Discord will say about this. So I'm hoping if we ask people in Discord, like, what are your income diversification, like, so what's your situation currently and what are your goals for future? We can get some ideas of like ways people would like to diversify or are currently diversifying, and to give just more ideas of what's possible would be really good.
Yes, I can't wait to hear what everyone else is doing / thinking of doing. Because you do only think about what you can imagine, and you can't know things that you don't know. Wow, I'm so good at speaking. Get this girl on a podcast. Oh, it's been a long day. Okay, so I think we have exhausted the topic, maybe, yes?
Yes.
So next week we are revisiting another topic that we've looked at a little while ago, which is social media and branding. Do you have any initial thoughts on this right now?
Yes, I don't want to talk about it because I have done no social media at all. And I was finding it so useful as a way to kind of just keep myself focused on putting my books out there, and kind of even just the way it affected my feeling about my own work and its presence in the world was very useful. But I have absolutely not had the time or bandwidth to do it recently, and that feels really rubbish. And is a thing I may want to. I think the podcast would be useful to get me refocused on it, but also to think about why is it always one of the first things I drop? Like ads, first thing I drop. This is probably second thing I drop. Why? When it's actually quite quick. It's not the time it takes, it's like the mental energy. So how can I figure out a way around that?
Yeah, understandable. I can't wait to talk about it because I feel like I've got a lot of wins, and I'm sure that I will fall flat on my face. But yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about it because I feel like I've done a lot of work around this recently, so it'll be nice to actually talk about it. Woo-hoo. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like it wherever you are, subscribe wherever you are, and share it with your friends and family, and also people who are writers and stuff.
Mostly them, but friends and family who might like it.
Friends and family, yeah, but mostly people who you think will enjoy this and find this beneficial. If you're not in the Discord, there is a link in our show notes to join. It's a very fun place, and we hope to see you there. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.